And so Nancy Starr-Cassidy is a past international director, and she will be leading us through the session. Before she begins, first I want to say, so thank you to Adam for giving me this role, allowing me to help do this. Next to Nancy for taking her time of her day because it's 7:30, it's 8 o'clock where she's at. So she's up quite early. And a special shout out to Suzanne Backler, who no matter each time I say to, like, if we find me somebody, she always comes through for me. And Suzanne, I thank you. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for your help. So thank you, Suzanne, for everything you do. And with that, I'm going to now give it over to Nancy to take us through today's session. Nancy.
Well, good morning. It was nice to meet all of you on this wonderful Saturday morning. I will apologize in advance that I am just recovering from a cold that I picked up from a wild weekend in Las Vegas. And so if I have to pause for a moment, please forgive me. I am a very informal presenter. This session is meant to be interactive. So even though I will have slides, I will try to pause frequently to make sure that I'm available for your questions. So please do not hesitate to take yourself off mute and ask a question at any point. So let me begin by sharing my presentation and making sure I've got the right version here. There we go. About the moments of truth. Now, let's just do a quick hand raise. Is everyone here familiar with the concept of moments of truth, or is this a new idea to anybody? We've got a few people that are familiar. All right, that's good news. So again, I don't want to assume that everyone's familiar with it. So we're going to take a moment to talk about what is it and why do we care and how can we use it. So let me begin first with a story. A moment, or the definition of a moment of truth, is an episode where a person comes in contact with any aspect of our program and forms an impression of a club and service. Because again, people don't join Toastmasters International, they join your clubs. I will share this story. It was 2004. I had just been elected to the International Board of Directors after having served as a past district governor at the time. And I was sitting in my hairdresser's salon being coiffed in preparation for a trip to world headquarters. And my hairdresser was just quite an animated character. And he was very excited that I was elected to this big deal position. So everyone that came into the salon, we were having a lot of fun with it. And he was saying, oh, look, I have an international director for Toastmasters International in my salon. And we were having a lot of fun, but I noticed the woman that was in the chair next to me had an unusual look on her face. And so I said, excuse me, are you familiar with Toastmasters? Because many people are not. And she said, oh, yes. Yes, I am familiar with Toastmasters. I said, oh gosh. I said, what was your experience like? And she said, do you really want to know? Absolutely, I said. She shared that she had walked into a Toastmasters meeting. This had been about a year ago. And she said, it became evident quite quickly that these people had nothing to teach me. I was flabbergasted. And I asked more details. And apparently, she had gone into a club. They were very disorganized. People had not shown up. They were very involved with trying to solve the problem, and they didn't try to include her or greet her officially. Or she said she sat through the meeting, but because they were just trying to solve the problems, she just felt like this was a complete waste of her time. And that's when it really hit me that every club is different. Every club ebbs and flows. Every club has those moments where we shine, and every club has meetings where it's just a disaster. But what we have to remember for the guest is every moment is also a decision-making point for them about the club, about the organization, about the value. And that's what the Moments of Truth program does. It helps us to stop and think about what message are we as a club sending to our guests, to our new members, to our experienced members. And that's one of the reasons why I find Moments of Truth to be so valuable. Because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I don't know that that woman will ever walk into another Toastmaster group because she had a moment where she really wanted to learn something, and then that moment was lost. So she may never, ever go back into another Toastmasters group. And that just breaks my heart because I know how much value we have as an organization to make a difference in other people's lives. So let's start from the beginning. What is a moment of truth? Obviously, it's a module from the Successful Club series. This module allows you to be able to have a conversation with your club. Ultimately, it's a tool. This is one of the few presentations that's actually meant to be a tool to guide a discussion with your fellow club members on club quality. Because it doesn't matter how good of a club you are, there are always opportunities to change or to evaluate what could be better. Where are those decision points? And what can we do to be able to improve the level of excellence of what we are delivering as Toastmaster clubs? Now, the module, if you have not worked yet with any of the Successful Club series modules, it provides a script and a PowerPoint presentation. And actually, some of the slides I'm using today are taken from that presentation slide deck. So I just always, it doesn't have any graphics. I always include graphics because that's just how I roll as a presenter. But it's customizable so that you can make it work for your presentation style. It's not meant to be delivered exactly as it is. Doreen, I see a question.
Wondering if that is free to all clubs to use, or you have to pay for that.
No, it is a free download.
Okay.
And I've put the link here. If you go to the toastmasters.org/resources/the Successful Club series set, then that is the entire series can be downloaded. And the same is true for the Better Speaker series. These are both modules that are now required in the pathways revisions for those of you doing levels 4 and levels 5, that you must deliver modules from these sets. So yes, they are completely free to download. And before I go today, I'll actually put in the chat for those of you that would like it, the actual slide deck and outline script from that presentation. I'll put that in the chat. All right, I do see that there is something in the chat. Oh, well, you already beat me to it, Patrick. Boy, are you good. I love that. So he's already got that link in the chat. So, man, gold star for our facilitator today. So that is what the Moments of Truth is. And sometimes, even though they have the outline of the script and the slides, sometimes it can still be a little overwhelming. So what do you do with that? And we will take a few moments to talk about how we can present that, incorporate that into the club. But I want to take a few minutes to actually say, all right, what is the essence of the Moments of Truth? So the reason that I am such a fan of the Moments of Truth, and it's been around for about 30 years now, and it doesn't, as I mentioned, it doesn't matter how good your club is, whether you're on a peak or whether you're like a couple of my clubs, we're struggling a little bit now because it really is a tool that helps you get focused feedback from your members. We all put out surveys, we all talk to our members, but sometimes we don't always provide that safe space for somebody to really tell us what they think. And when you do the Moments of Truth, it gives them that opportunity to say, hey, we really need to know what you think about this. What can we do to make a difference? It also helps your members gain a guest perspective. And this is especially true for those of us who have been around for a long time. We know how Toastmasters works. And sometimes we forget that somebody walking in the door or a brand new member, there's a lot to Toastmasters and we can overwhelm them very easily. So it helps provide a setting where you're taking them and saying, we need to look at this from the member of the guest walking in, or from somebody who just signed the paper and is a little overwhelmed. What I really love about this tool is it also helps you say, what are we doing well, right? Because we don't want to stop doing that. If we're doing something that is really working well to make our guests feel welcome, we need to reinforce that so that people don't make decisions as we go along to stop doing the things that we're doing well. And most importantly, it helps identify opportunities for positive change. Many of the changes need to come from the members and not the officers, especially if you're having a little bit of a doldrums and an attitude or an energy level. The members need to know that they're empowered to help be part of the change that you want to see in the club to make a difference. And one essence that's becoming very important, especially as we start using social media platforms to attract people, it helps identify the custom talking points when you're recruiting guests. What makes this club different from other clubs? Because we have clubs that really pride themselves on being professional or speaker oriented. Some are very evaluation oriented. Some are more social. What is it that makes your club unique from all of the other Toastmaster clubs? Because if you can identify those talking points, it makes it so much easier when you're recruiting guests, whether you're talking about in-person conversations or you're talking on social platforms. If you know who you are, it makes it a lot easier to be able to share that and get the word out and make your club attract other people like you that are going to be successful in your club. And again, lastly, providing the Moments of Truth module helps complete one of the requirements for your Pathways level 4 and 5 when you have to do a module from the Successful Club series. For 30 years, I know that in our district, we recommend to every club to do the Moments of Truth every year, even if you're going gangbusters, because again, these values that you're bringing back to your members is what's really important. You may not change a thing after you talk about it, but again, now your members understand those strengths and you have that advantage of the custom talking points, not just all the benefits of Toastmasters. Again, what makes your club unique and special? And that's where I find the real value of this program. The actual Moments of Truth is broken down into 6 segments. So during this module, when you're facilitating it, you're going to be looking at your club from these 6 standpoints. That's the first impressions. What does your guest see when they first walk in the door and are making that critical impression, whether to stay in the room or on the Zoom? Then we're going to talk about membership orientation. That's the next level. So they've made the decision to join. What are we doing to make sure we're onboarding those members to make sure that they know they're valuable? Then we talk about fellowship, variety, and communication. The 4th section is program planning and meeting organization. 5th is membership strength. And the 6th area is achievement recognition. And what's really important is that we're talking about standards, if you will. Does our club live up to the standards of a quality club? And that's when we talk about what do those look like. So in your script, when you are looking at the section, there are specific call outs for each of these areas. So I'm going to take a moment to just talk about those a little bit, and then I'm going to stop in and just talk a little bit about how we could present these. So in first impressions, we're talking about things like, what does your room look like? And when I say room, I'm talking about those of you that are meeting physically, obviously the meeting location, but I'm also talking about Zoom or those of you doing hybrid, does the online guest, when they enter the room, what does that look like for them? Is it set up professionally? Are you discombobulated? Is it chaos? Or does a guest walk in and everything look good? Is the meeting space conveniently accessible and clearly marked? Did people have trouble figuring out? I know some clubs have some really complicated registration to be able to get into the Zoom part, or they assume that you're going to be able to find the meeting, and once they walk into the room, do they know this is Toastmasters? Are the guests greeted and introduced to the fellow members that are present? That's part of what is considered that first impressions. Whoop, I'm sorry, I just flipped my page. Remember I said I had that cold? I think my meds are kicking in here. So are the guests easily identified? Have they been asked to sign a guest book, encouraging guests to participate in the meeting, that type of thing? And are they invited to join? I was a member of one club for a while. I think I was serving at their coach at the time. And the president was very against asking the members to join on their first trip because they felt like that was pressure of sales. And it was interesting. It took me a lot. I mean, I'm talking about months working with her to be able to have her understand that by failing to ask them to join, they have removed the choice from the member or the potential member. I said, you want to have the member be empowered. She goes, well, if they want to join, they'll ask. I go, people are shy, right? A lot of people that are coming into this organization are coming in because they don't have a lot of confidence and they need to be invited to join. That shows how valuable they are, how important. So it was an interesting phenomenon to understand different cultures and different personalities, that sometimes it's difficult to just ask that question, but how important it is to be able to ask that question. When we're talking about membership orientation, once we get somebody to actually sign that document and make that commitment, are they members inducted? And are they provided some proof of membership? So whether you send them a pin, or if you provide them some tangible evidence that they are a member of your club, do they get mentors? Is there an introduction to the education system? And are they asked about what it is they are interested in learning? Because some people are very leadership oriented, some people are very communication oriented, some don't even know what it is they want. They just know they need some help. And so the conversation that happens, I've seen some clubs where they just assume that the member is going to join and just read all the material that is available to them on the site. But there are many people that are not like that. They need to be shown, or they're overwhelmed, because we do have a lot. And are they invited to have a speaking role very quickly? When we're talking about the fellowship, variety, and communication, members are greeted, the members are greeted and also empowered to work with the guests and make them feel welcome. That the vice president education is providing a enjoyable program that makes it fun, and that you have regularly scheduled social events, things that are maybe outside the club, and encouraged to go beyond the club to participate in area and those kinds of events as well. So many clubs that have post toasties can be quite exciting, especially for things like online clubs, because so many people come in, have the meeting and disperse, and then they don't have the opportunity to just chat. So leaving the session open for a half hour after the meeting to just say, this is just our social time to catch up. What's happening in your life? How's work going? How are those grandkids? All of that opportunity to be able to really bond and get to know your fellow members. With program planning and meeting organization, we're talking about, are the agendas put out? I've been to many, many meetings where there is no agenda, and guests, and even sometimes members don't really know what's going on. We're making some assumptions there, that the speeches are all from pathways, that they have created table topics, and evaluations are focused and helpful. When we're talking about membership strength, we're talking about things of, is our club able to maintain 20 or more members? Now, I'm assuming because you're here, you're like a couple of my clubs. We are struggling to get back to 20. So what can we do to help retain our members and bring back some of the members that might have left us? Are we actively promoting our club? Are we planning meetings? Are we recognizing those Toastmasters who bring in members and participating in the membership drives? And lastly, in achievement recognition, are we formally recognizing the member achievements? Do we recognize those of us who get the shiny badges, which is our only reward for stepping up to leadership outside our clubs? But also, we need to promote not only the member achievements, but the club achievements. And are we paying attention to the Distinguished Club Plan? Now, I know that's a lot to remember, and it's certainly a lot to present. So let me just stop my slideshow here. There we go. And let's take a look around the room. So knowing that this is what the Moments of Truth is, as a presentation, as this opportunity to have a discussion with your members about all of these components. Are you seeing that this might be an opportunity within your club to be able to lead this presentation? I would love to hear your thoughts at this point. Any volunteers?
Oh, you don't see me?
Yes, Doreen?
Sure. I would speak to it from the point that I think our members all love our club. In fact, most of them say it's the highlight of their week. You know, they really enjoy it and whatnot. But it's really hard to get people to bring other people to the meeting. Like we're virtual, so I mean, it would be inviting them to participate in Zoom. And we do have occasional in-person gatherings, like you say, just to improve the camaraderie at the personal level. But sometimes I think our members are so wrapped up in our sort of special little group that they're not putting an effort to extending it. And I'm looking forward to perhaps making this presentation just to it's is it about 20 minutes when we do the complete module? Is it about 20 minutes to the club?
So when you do it, I would actually allocate an entire hour because you
Oh,
have the six
okay.
sections, but again, there's different ways of presenting it because you may not have an entire hour to be able to devote to this in your club. In the actual outline of the presentation, it even suggests that you take those six sections and you divide it up amongst your club members. Now, that's assuming you have at least 12 people to be able to do that, because then you, in order to have a discussion, you have to have at least two people times six. You may not, in one of my clubs, I'm down to 8 members. I don't have that. So I need to have the entire club discuss each of these sections. And in which case, that's what I would do is I would break this down into presenting one section at each of our next 6 meetings. And in which case I could probably do that in 15 to 20 minutes because you don't want to shortchange the conversation because that's where the real ideas happen. It's where the members start understanding that they are empowered to help make the change to the club. It's one of the challenges that I'm having with that club that I'm down to 8 members. We recently did this and we realized our members, the two that were not officers, assumed that it was not their position to impose to make a difference. They assumed the 6 officers were going to take care of all of that. And so they were just sitting back and waiting. And we realized when you're down to 8 members, every member needs to be part of the solution. So it was actually very eye-opening for those 2 members without pointing fingers. They came to their self-realization that, oh gosh, no, I need to help here. I need to step in and also do things to help improve the situation so that we don't fold, that we make a difference. So that's why the making sure that everybody's empowered. So in a real, if we have 20 members in our club and so you have at least 12 people show up to a meeting, because even if you have 20 people you might not have 12 people at the meeting. So to be effective, you need to assess what your current situation is, and you might need to pivot how you present it. You can break it down into 2 30-minute sessions, or again, depending on how big your group is. So the idea is you need to have the discussion because there's got to be time to break out and then share with a bigger group. So that's why I said it's very flexible on how you can present this. But the important thing is not to try to rush it, because the value is the talking points, the action items that come out of it, you're not just delivering information to your members. you're asking your members to give this information back to you, and this is the format where we're going to use it. Is there any other questions or thoughts about what we're talking about at this point? Do you see this as a tool that could help your club is the real key to this discussion? Thumbs up from Stephanie. Thank you. Suzanne.
I happen to belong to the club Doreen is speaking about, and I think maybe we could fit it in a, I guess, where we do the speeches, and I would be willing to do one portion, and Doreen may be able to do another, and perhaps we could have another member present uh, another portion, and that way it involves everyone and everyone would learn about it.
Yes, that's what makes this Moments of Truth module so very different from all of the others, is that it is meant to be a conversation, and it is such a flexible one that can be really life-changing to a club. So incorporating multiple facilitators is definitely one of the options. Christine, I see your hand is up.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Christine Goulet, and I am a member of the Dryden Club, and I am the only member that's virtual.
Ah,
And I've been with Toastmasters for approximately 2 years, and I can speak firsthand that when I joined the club, I was completely lost. I did not understand what was going on. And I don't fault the membership because they are struggling with members. I think we have 4 core people that come to every meeting. I think we have more members, they just do not come to the meetings. And I'm starting to understand more and more the different roles, but that wasn't explained to me. And again, I don't fault the membership because they're doing their best. And I honestly believe when I joined, I think that made them rejuvenate again. And they did it for me out of dedication because they know the value of Toastmasters. And I think they wanted to help me. So I think that may have caused the rejuvenation of the club after COVID, but we're still struggling. And we have new members come, but I think they are also not sure what is going on. Like, for example, like I said, the roles, they don't know how to evaluate someone's speech. We don't have the documentation. And luckily, we have Patrick that is coming to our meetings on a regular basis, and a few other people that are coming to help us as well. But without those folks, I think it would just be the 4 of us all the time. And it would be nice if somebody spoke about this presentation to our club, and then perhaps, because I do see the value in it, 100%. And then with only 4 people regularly attending, you know, um, we'd have to figure out how to talk about the standards that you're talking about. So that is my thoughts. I do see the value of this because I know firsthand what it felt like to be a newbie and being completely lost. They're a wonderful group. They're very supportive, but we're just a little bit chaotic sometimes. So,
And I love that, Christine. And you bring up a couple of valuable points, especially for clubs that where you said you've only got a few handful. Sometimes that means it is very helpful for someone from the outside to come in and lead this, because sometimes it's difficult for a member to bring up some of these items. And the beauty of this program and the support that you have with the members here is asking someone else that might be present here to say, would you come into our club and help lead this? Maybe they would lead the first part of it, sort of getting started, and then at a second meeting. Because when you're struggling like that, it makes it difficult, as you said, to live up to any kind of a standard. But if you don't have this discussion of saying, okay, realistically, what could we do? You're right. Maybe we do need to have a formal mentor assigned to each member, just so you have that one person to call and say, okay, I don't get this. Good. And you feel comfortable outside the meeting to be able to say, help me with this. I just don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing here. So that's one thought. Stephanie, I see your hand.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. Much like Christine, so I'm the VP of membership this year at the Wabanesa Speakeasy Club for Wabanesa in Winnipeg. And the concern with this is that it's a business only club. The only members can be people in the company. And I think that's somewhat of the issue. We had 20 members last year, the year before, and we had some for a while. We've gone through different presidents, all of whom bring something unique and different and valuable to the club. But I honestly think the concern, like Christine was saying, is we're usually only getting 4 to 6 people at meetings. Even though I think we have more members, I don't think this year we have quite 20. I think we're more in like about 12 because it became a problem in our case with the way that the memberships were financed through the company, because it used to be part of that. One of the things was that it was paid for by the company, but then they changed that so it's paid for out of your own pocket, but also given the departmental budget. And I think that's a bit of an issue. We lost a lot of people because the department budget just wasn't there for their, individuals who were interested in getting a membership. Their supervisors said simply we don't have budgetary means for that. But even of the ones who are members, I just feel like the issue with a club that's company only is that when it's really busy in certain departments, because my department is not excessively busy at the moment, but other departments are absolutely up to their eyeballs, then it's becoming a lot of people, oh, I can't make it, I can't make it, I can't make it. So then there's 4 people that show up, or there's 6 people that show up. And I'm finishing my level 3, and I did the successful club series presentation, and it was the one, I don't remember the exact title, but it was about being present at the club and as part of the successful team is to show up. So I thought, as the Toastmaster for the meeting a few weeks back, that was what I presented as my Toastmaster kind of speech to start the club. And I realized that we had 1 or 2 new members and then 3 not 2 members, I think one guest, 1 new member, and then 3 long-standing members. And I felt like I was talking to the choir because they all show up. But then I was like, okay, so I'm eager to see how once I move into level 4 and I do the moments of truth, that if we have some other members that also are on their levels 4 and 5, we might be able to coordinate something to see if we can get better feedback. Because I have asked about do people want mentorship? Are they having issues with pathways or something? And I've met with 1 or 2 on an individual basis, but we're not getting a lot of that feedback where they seem people want help, even when we offer it. So yeah, do you have any insights on maybe that sort of, I guess, difficulty within a club, given that ours might not be public like some other people's?
Right. And I started my Toastmaster experience in a corporate club. And I was fortunate because at the time I joined back in the 80s, we had 50 plus members. And we experienced in the 90s our very first ever layoffs in our company. We're a public utility, and that had never happened before. And we went from 50 members down to 10. And I remember there was talk about, well, we can't sustain the club with 10 members. And we had to really do a lot of work to rebuild the club and help our leaders also understand the value of that. And part of the moments of truth session, when you're getting into the membership strength and the member engagement part of it, is being able to help the members talk to their individual supervisors about how their experience is adding value to their professional growth and to being able to contribute better to the organization. One suggestion you can do, especially if you want to get feedback from the members who are not attending regularly, is you can even send out this section. You could send out a survey to the membership at large via email or whatever your communication method is, and saying, on next meeting, we're going to be talking specifically about the club in membership strength. And these are the questions we're going to ask. We need you to be there, but if you can't be there, we need your thoughts on this so that we can collectively make a suggestion. And part of this whole process is not just doing the exercise, but once you've done it, you need to have action items. So now you've received all this wonderful feedback, and you hope that organically, as the discussion happens, that members start realizing we need to change things. And again, you start with the small things like, oh, yeah, we've been really bad about putting the sign outside of our office showing that this is where we're meeting, or we've been really bad about introducing guests or something like that. So you'll see some small changes being made organically, but there are actions that you might have to really work on to be able to make a difference. For example, coming up with a plan of how do you gain the buy-in from your supervisors so that people do feel more comfortable being able to take that hour away to break away for the meeting when things get busy. And so those take a little bit more significant effort and action and might require a plan. So the follow-up after the delivering the moments of truth is just as important as doing the actual session. Because again, this is a tool that allows you to make those significant changes. Some changes are very tiny, and those are awesome. Every little change is for the positive, but we also might have to do some significant work as a result of part of this conversation as well. But
Perfect. Thank
awareness
you.
is the first part.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much. That gave me quite a lot to think about and take back to my club. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. And again, continuing to work with people, like Patrick and Adam will definitely help be able to provide resources where needed. I know in corporations, it really helped when somebody with a shiny badge would come in and talk to some of our management groups, especially the department that's super busy. It could be helpful if they have somebody that has a title in Toastmasters to be able to meet with them and talk about, hey, we need to ensure that you understand how valuable this is and how important it is to recognize the work that the people are doing in Toastmasters and how that benefits your organization. So don't be shy about asking those people with the shiny badges to come in and try to help you meet those goals.
Well, sounds great. Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions or thoughts? Oops. All right, I just wanted to make sure I was covering it. So as we mentioned, when you're presenting the moments of truth, again, you have a lot of flexibility. Single leader or multiple leaders, someone within your club, a guest speaker to come in and start that. You can do the entire group discussion, and then you can do the breakouts, to cover each of those 6 components. The idea is that you come up with actionable items at the end of this. And then what you do is ensure that someone's taking notes to make sure that you know what it is that where you want to focus to be able to make that. You want to evaluate the results, agree on a plan of action. And again, every action requires who is going to do it, when they're going to do it, what resources are available to you, and most importantly, what are your priorities? Because especially those of us that are struggling with those 4 and 5 member meetings, there's a lot of opportunity, right? So what is the biggest opportunity? What's going to get you the bang for the buck? Start fine tuning and working towards the bigger goal. And be sure to report back to the members to let them know how you're doing and to hold you as officers accountable for the actions that you're going to agree to take. So that is why I believe that the moments of truth can be your best friend. It can also appear to be a little intimidating when you are just looking at this outline and some slides about how you can have it. And again, depending on your club and the culture of your club, there are multiple ways to approach this. My goal is to make sure that you're comfortable with the fact that this is a tool that can have significant benefits for you, and also why it really needs to be done every year, because like all habits, we need to remind ourselves, oh yeah, we've gotten a little bit lazy about this. We need to get back to our basics and be able to say, we've got some good standards to be able to make sure that our guests feel comfortable, that they have been invited to join, that as members, we can speak about what the advantages are of our club, because that makes it a lot easier to ask somebody to come see what you do and be able to show them a meeting that is fun, where they feel welcome and possibly interested in joining. Are there any other questions or items that you would like to chat about the moments of truth, or how this tool can be able to bring value to your particular club? All right, I'm not seeing any hands. With that, I'm happy. Oh, wait, Suzanne, and then I'll return it back to Patrick.
Just wanted to ask you, Nancy, we do ask the people on the first go, when they first come to our club as guests, and we do ask them to join that very night. I think we should maybe ask them in the open meeting, but we take them into a breakout room and ask them, what are your thoughts on this?
What I usually find helpful is that when almost everybody will ask their guests for comments at the end, instead of just saying, what did you think about this meeting? Ask the question, have we been able to demonstrate to you how this program can add value to your communication and leadership goals? Or specifically, what did you see today that you think could benefit you in your goals? So you're making it personal and asking them to say, well, I see how table topics could make me feel more comfortable in an interview situation or something like that. And then that way, when you say, please know that you are invited to join in a public way, so that you aren't saying, well, we want you to join. Whatever is comfortable for your leadership style, whoever it is that is leading the meeting and making that. It is important to make the open invitation, but then the real sale, if you will, does happen on a personal basis. And especially when you have that person, I like the idea of taking them into the breakout room to be able to say, again, specifically, do you see how this aligns with your goal, and have that conversation? Because if you make it all about, this is a sales pitch and we want you, but if you're turning it into a conversation where you're saying, let me show you how we can help you specifically meet your goals, then it makes it a lot easier for them to be able to say, yes, I'd like to join and see what I can do to help.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, not seeing any other hands. It's my pleasure to return control back to you, Patrick.
Hey, well, say Thank you, Nancy. I just want to say once again, thank you for coming and doing this presentation for everybody today. I agree with everybody in the room here. It was very informative, and I think a lot of us can take from what we learned from you today to help each of our clubs going forward. And before we end for today, I just want to ask Adam, would you like to just end with some final words?
Thank you very much. And Gone, let me get my cat out of the way. Thank you very much, Nancy. I greatly appreciate you coming out. I know that we do have a number of clubs that are struggling, so I hope this is a helpful learning experience for everybody. I know we talk about the moments of truth year after year, but I know that it is especially important because the power that you can learn from it, both the good and the bad, helps us grow as a club and as a Toastmaster. Thank you all very much for coming out tonight. It is greatly appreciated. Hopefully, we'll have another session next month, and I'll turn it back over to Patrick.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. So with that, I hope everybody have a good rest of the morning, and thank you again for taking part of your Sunday to come out for these presentations. And yes, we will be doing a presentation next month, and I will be saying information about that when I get the dates all sorted out. But definitely, once again, Nancy, thank you for coming. Suzanne, thank you for setting this up. And with that, everybody have a good rest of your Saturday morning. And this recording will be going to the YouTube page once they get this sorted out. Okay?
Thank you, everyone.